What's up, good people? Welcome back to the Wildcats and More podcast. I'm your host, Deshaun. Now, I think I speak for most people when I say that the summertime is the worst time of the year when it comes to sports. The reason why I say that is because once the NBA Finals are over and once the Stanley Cup is over, there's really nothing to watch as far as sports goes on TV. Now, unless you like baseball, which personally I do like baseball, but I don't really follow baseball religiously like I follow football and basketball. I mean, I don't really, although I like baseball, I don't really watch baseball every day like I would football or basketball. I mean, it's not, baseball is not something where I'm just like, oh my God, I can't wait to watch it. Baseball, to me, as far as baseball goes, I think it's a lot better to watch baseball in person than it is watching it on TV. But I mean, I do like baseball, just not as much as I like football and basketball. Really, the only time I really care to watch baseball is at the beginning of the season, during the opening week, during the All-Star week, and everything after September, because that's when it really starts getting interesting with the playoff races. But yeah, I don't care for baseball that much. I mean, also because my baseball team sucks. I am a Philadelphia Phillies fan, to be honest. Yeah, I've always, the Phillies, I didn't really become a Phillies fan until I was like in high school. I became a fan of them because of Jimmy Rollins and Ryan Howard. And when I first started watching baseball as a kid, I was a Braves fan. Then I kind of switched to the Red Sox because of Pedro Martinez. And then I switched to the Cubs for a little bit. And I think I might have been an Orioles fan for a little bit. But once I got to like sophomore year of high school, I became a Phillies fan. And I stayed a Phillies fan. Now, I did witness the Phillies win the World Series in '08. But yeah, we haven't been good in a long time. I think 2012 might have been the last time we was in the playoffs because we've sucked for a long time. Although this year Philadelphia is not bad, but I mean I don't know if we're gonna make it to the playoffs. That's the only issue. So since I'm not a big baseball fan, I mean lately I've been watching wrestling in order to fill the void until the football season starts again. Yeah, I don't really watch wrestling every week like I used to growing up, but I love wrestling. Just to be honest here, yeah, I wouldn't say it bothers me, but it does. It is kind of annoying when people say wrestling is fake. I mean, so what if wrestling isn't quote unquote real? I mean, neither are movies, neither is cartoons, but people enjoy watching that. But for some reason, we gotta point out that wrestling isn't real. Instead of calling wrestling fake, wrestling it's choreographed. If you were to tell me it's choreographed or that it's predetermined, I'd be like, yeah, you're right, it is. But to say that it's fake, yes, I mean, that's kind of disingenuous if you ask me, because what they do in the ring is very real. And if they screw up, somebody could get injured really, really bad, and their wrestling career will be over with. And that's what happened to Droz. He was wrestling as D'Lo Brown, and D'Lo Brown accidentally slammed him. He accidentally slammed him. He was supposed to powerbomb him, but since Droz, he wasn't able to control him, and Droz just went straight to the mat, and yeah, he's paralyzed, I believe, from the waist down for the rest of his life. Or ask Stone Cold Steve Austin. He was wrestling as Owen Hart, and Owen accidentally dropped him on his head, and Stone Cold had to have surgery on his neck, which thankfully he was still able to resume his wrestling career. Or ask Shawn Michaels. He hurt his back and had to retire from wrestling. Eventually he did come back, but who knows what else he would have accomplished if he didn't hurt his back. Yeah, last week was SummerSlam, and let me tell you what, it was a really good pay-per-view. It's been years since I watched a wrestling pay-per-view, but SummerSlam was pretty good. It started great, it ended great, every match except for like one was a good match. I hate to say it, but yeah, the worst match of the night was Liv Morgan versus Ronda Rousey. I hate to say it because I'm a fan of Liv Morgan. I like Liv Morgan. She's fun to watch. She looks good. She's very popular with the fans. But yeah, Liv Morgan. I mean, I have no problem admitting that she's not the greatest wrestler in the world. Does she need to improve in the ring? Yeah, sure, but she's not terrible. Now, Ronda Rousey, I mean, she's a good wrestler, which she should be coming over from UFC, but I don't know. There's just something about Ronda that just maybe she's just not. Maybe she's too rough, or maybe she doesn't know how to carry people who aren't so good in the ring. Because Ronda just be doing whatever out there sometimes, and she be getting people hurt. I mean, Charlotte's out because of injury. I mean, Liv Morgan got injured, but she'll be able to compete at the next pay-per-view, Clash at the Castle. Ronda, she can be a little reckless in the ring, and you don't, like I said, you don't want to be reckless because somebody could get hurt and their wrestling career could be over with. Now, I'm not letting Liv Morgan off the hook. I mean, she does need to get better, but yeah, that match was it was bad for both of them. I mean, it made Liv Morgan look weak. It made Ronda look reckless, but thankfully, Liv Morgan is still a champion because I was afraid that WWE was only going to let her hold the belt for like a month, but I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they put her over Ronda Rousey, and I can't wait to see how the rest of Liv Morgan's women's championship reign plays out. Bianca Belair versus Becky Lynch, that was the first match of the night, and it was a really good one. You know, Bianca Belair, I would say, yeah, her and Liv Morgan are my two favorite women wrestlers. Bianca Belair, I mean, even though she hasn't been in the WWE for a long time, if she continues at this trajectory, I personally think that one of these days we could be talking about Bianca Belair being the greatest women's wrestler of all time. Alright guys, I'm back. I had to tend to my son real quick. So yeah, like I was saying, Bianca Belair, I really like her. Bianca and Liv Morgan, those are my two favorite women's wrestlers currently in the WWE. Yeah, Bianca, for one, I like her because she is a damn good wrestler. I mean, there ain't a whole lot that she can't do in a wrestling ring. She can do the high risk moves, power moves, finesse moves. You know, she doesn't have to be carried throughout a match. Like, Bianca Belair is very, very talented, and she's got a unique nickname too. The first time I saw her and she was calling herself the EST of the WWE, I'm just thinking to myself, what the hell does that mean? But then when I was listening to her promo, I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I see why she calls herself the EST of the WWE. Like, think of words like quickest, fastest, strongest. They all end with the letters EST. And according to Bianca Belair, she's the fastest, she's the strongest, she's the greatest diva currently in the WWE, and hey, she can back it up. So I like the nickname. It's clever, it's creative, and I think if she keeps it up at this rate, we could be talking about Bianca Belair being the greatest women's wrestler of all time. I mean, she's won the Raw and the SmackDown Women's Championship at least once in her career. I mean, she's very much over with the crowd. I mean, she knows how to work a mic. She knows how to put on great matches. She looks good doing it. Like, what more could you ask for from Bianca Belair? The match that surprised me the most was The Miz versus Logan Paul. I really wasn't expecting it to be a good match, but it turned out to be a good one. I mean, Logan Paul, hey, I'm not a fan of his, but Logan Paul looked like he's been wrestling for 5+ years. And he was doing frog splashes, moonsaults, the phenomenal forearm. Like, he looked really good out there against the Miz. Now, of course, the Miz. I'm not a fan of the Miz, so anyone that beats him, anytime he loses, I'm cool with it. Like I'm not saying the Miz. All right, guys, I am back again. Sorry about the delay. So yeah, like I was saying before, the match that really surprised me was Logan Paul versus The Miz. Now, admittedly, I'm not a fan of The Miz. I'm not a fan of Logan Paul, but Logan Paul looked good out there. Really good. He looked like he's been wrestling for 5-6 years, and which is the opposite of what I was expecting. I was expecting it to be a boring match. I was expecting The Miz to kind of squash him, but Logan Paul ended up winning. And that's fine with me, because I don't like The Miz. I don't care for him. The Miz, just my personal opinion, The Miz is probably the most overrated wrestler in wrestling history. Like, I'm not saying The Miz can't wrestle. I'm not saying The Miz hasn't improved. I'm not saying The Miz doesn't have superb mic skills. But the dude is overrated. Like, he really is. Like, I mean, he even though he is great on the mic, to me he's just annoying. Like, when The Miz first won the WWE Championship, I was so pissed off that he won that I changed the channel when he was on TV. And I did that until The Miz lost the WWE Championship. Like, he's just, yeah, I mean, I get it. You can talk. You're great on the mic, but what can you do in the ring? I don't know. I'm only speaking for myself here, but I prefer wrestlers I like wrestlers who are the total package. They're charismatic on the mic. They're great in the ring. They're marketable. So on, like John Cena, or like Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Undertaker. Like, I like wrestlers who can do it all. But if I had to choose who I would rather watch, I would rather watch a wrestler who is strong on the mic, or excuse me, I would rather watch a wrestler who is strong in the ring but lacking on the mic than to watch a wrestler who is strong on the mic but lacking in the ring. The Miz is a perfect example of the latter. The Miz, his mic skills are a 10 out of 10. His wrestling ability is a 6.5, maybe a 7 out of 10. I mean, The Miz is not a bad wrestler, but I also wouldn't call him a good wrestler. He's just okay in the ring. Like, I mean, I'm not turning on my TV to check out The Miz. Like, I don't care to watch him wrestle because he's not that good. Now, on the other hand, you got wrestlers who are strong in the ring but not very strong on the mic. That's wrestlers like Randy Orton. I like watching Randy Orton. I mean, he isn't exactly the strongest mic worker, but he's damn good in the ring. Who else? John Morrison, The Miz's former partner. Not the strongest on the mic, but hell, every time he steps in the ring, he puts on a good match. It don't matter who's in the ring with him. Daniel Bryan, to a degree. I mean, I think he's a good mic worker, but he's not like one of the best. I mean, he got a little annoying too with that whole yes, yes, yes. But Daniel Bryan, I mean, he is a good mic worker, just not a great one. Who else? I guess. Well, no, I wouldn't say Kane. I mean, Kane is strong on the mic as well as in the ring, so no, not Kane. Let's see, Undertaker, also strong on the mic and in the ring. Triple H, strong on the mic and in the ring. Yeah, I don't know. Besides Randy Orton, Batista. I mean, he wasn't the greatest mic worker either. Well, he wasn't the greatest wrestler either, but Batista was a better in-ring wrestler than The Miz. Bret Hart, I mean, he wasn't strong on the mic, but his in-ring ability was top-notch. I mean, even though Brett wasn't the strongest on the mic, he does have one of the greatest catchphrases of all time. The best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be. But The Miz, I guess, depending on who you ask, I'm The Miz and I'm awesome is one of the greatest catchphrases of all time. I mean, personally, I don't think it is, but somebody else might. I mean, The Miz, I don't know. The Miz plays his character. So maybe it's because The Miz is a douchebag in real life. Like, The Miz is such a douchey. He's just a walking douchebag, walking, talking douchebag that wrestles. I mean, maybe he's a douchebag in real life. Maybe that's why he does his character so well. I don't know, but I really don't care for The Miz. I mean, his in-ring ability isn't good enough for me to want to. It's not good enough for me to actually want to watch him get his ass kicked. Put it that way. Because, hell, I mean, The Miz, it's his mouth that allows him to keep a job in the WWE. Because if he wasn't a good talker, nobody would give a fuck about The Miz. He would have been out of the WWE years ago if he didn't have a mouth. Because, hell, he's not a good wrestler. Like, again, he's not good, but he's not bad either. Like, has he improved? Yes, he definitely has improved. But The Miz, I don't know what people see in that dude. He's not entertaining. He doesn't do, as far as in-ring ability goes, he doesn't take any high-risk moves. He doesn't do anything innovative. Unless he's wrestling against a top-notch wrestler like AJ Styles or John Cena or, I don't know, Randy Orton, his matches are boring as fuck. Like, if you're a fan of The Miz, look, I'm not judging you, I'm not knocking you, but I just don't find him entertaining at all. But if you find him entertaining, more power to you. But to me, he's just not good. Yeah, the best match of SummerSlam was probably... you know what? I don't know. I would say the best match was either the main event between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar, or what was that match I was thinking of? It was a really good match. I just can't. Or the match between the Usos and the Street Profits. Tag team wrestling ain't what it used to be, but the Usos are a damn good tag team. I mean, we could talk about them being one of the top 10 greatest tag teams of all time. Maybe even top 5. But that was a good match between the Usos and the Street Profits. Although, I mean, it was a little bit one-sided because I feel like the Usos kind of dominated that match for most of the match. But it was still entertaining. I mean, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, I mean, they're pretty good wrestlers themselves, and they're pretty good mic workers themselves. So, hopefully they can win the tag team championships again. Hopefully, at least one more time before the WWE decides to split them up. Because, I don't know, it seems like the WWE likes to split up good tag teams when you should keep them together. You know, they did that to Deuce and Domino. They did it to Crime Time. They did it to... Well, Miz and Morrison, yeah, they were better off separate anyway. Even though the WWE fucked over John Morrison. But yeah, the New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, even though they had some success as singles wrestlers, I mean, they were better as a tag team. But yeah, I mean, other times a team splits up and they both do well. You know, like Edge and Christian. The Brothers of Destruction, Kane and Undertaker. Well, they were singles wrestlers first anyway, but yeah, the Brothers of Destruction, Edge and Christian, the Shield, I guess, if you want to, even though it was a trio, I guess you could count the Shield. Damn, what was that one team? I had them in my head, now I done forgot. The Dudley Boys. Now that was another team that they shouldn't have broke up. But anyways, yeah, that was a good match between the Street Profits and the Usos. But the main event, that was a hell of a main event. I mean, it made me laugh. It made me go, whoa. There was a lot of great moments in that match between Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. Now, yeah, the funniest part of it was when Brock Lesnar took that tractor trailer, that bulldozer, and moved the wrestling ring and made Roman Reigns fall on his ass. But it was a good match though. I mean, they traded blows, traded suplexes, and all kinds of other moves, and it took a lot to keep Brock down. I mean, Roman had to bury him in rubble just to keep his ass down. But overall, it was a good match. I mean, Roman Reigns, although I'm not really a fan of Roman Reigns, he has become one of the greatest wrestlers in the WWE and possibly could go down as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. I mean, the tribal chief, the head of the table, whatever you want to call him, you got to acknowledge him. Because Roman Reigns is a bad motherfucker. And he ain't going nowhere anytime soon. Hell, if he wins, he might win against Drew McIntyre at Clash at the Castle and extend his title streak. I don't know. I mean, I'm not, like I said, I'm not really a fan of Roman Reigns, but if he does win, I mean, I wouldn't be against it. I mean, because for the longest, Brock Lesnar was the champion, and he barely showed up to fight. I mean, don't get me wrong, I respect Brock Lesnar. I think he's a damn good wrestler, but I didn't like the fact that Brock Lesnar only defended his title at pay-per-views. I didn't like the fact that Brock Lesnar never showed up on Raw or SmackDown. But anyways, yeah, that's SummerSlam. Like I said, it was a great pay-per-view. I give it a 9 out of 10. I give it 4 stars out of 5. I do look forward to Clash at the Castle for next month's pay-per-view. And now, all I gotta say is, don't expect Clash at the Castle to be better than SummerSlam, or else you might end up being disappointed. I really don't expect it to be better, but as long as it's a good pay-per-view, I will be a happy camper. You know, so that's just my advice to y'all. Now, y'all probably tired of hearing about wrestling. I don't have a lot of news as far as Kentucky goes, because that's why I made this podcast, to talk mostly about Kentucky Wildcats and to talk about other sports second. But I mean, it's the summertime. There really ain't much going on in the world of college sports. Our football team is ranked 22nd, which is awesome. I don't think Kentucky's ever been ranked in the top 25 going into a new season, at least in my lifetime. So I look forward to seeing that. Hopefully it'll be another good season. Hopefully it will win at least 10 games and go to a good bowl game. As far as basketball goes, yeah, Kentucky, we got another opponent for our non-conference schedule, Gonzaga. Now, it's going to be a home-and-home series. I'm excited about this. I mean, Gonzaga plays everybody else, so why can't we play them? They play Duke every other year, it seems like. I have played North Carolina at least every few years. They play Arizona, UCLA, Memphis. So, yeah, I mean, I've always wondered how would Kentucky fare against Gonzaga, and now we get the chance to see. Now, that matchup between Oscar Tshiebwe and Drew Timme, that's going to be a hell of a matchup. I think it'll be a good game. I think since it's at the beginning of the season, both teams will probably struggle to get their footing. But in the end, I think we'll beat Gonzaga. I think next year will be a pretty good season for Kentucky. Just as long as we don't lose in the first round of the tournament like we did last year. Like I said on not my last podcast, but my last episode, if Kentucky doesn't at least make it to the Final Four this year, John Calipari needs to be on the hot seat. Because it's been 10 years now since we last won a championship. Look, I don't expect Kentucky to win the championship every season, but man, I thought you would at least have 2 or 3. But you only got 1, and we won that one 10 years ago. I mean, 10 years is ancient history. No, I'm just kidding. Not really, but I mean, 10 years is a long time ago, so we need one now, within the next year or 2. So you need to win, Coach Cal, or else you're going to be put on the hot seat. All right, y'all. So that's all I got to say about Kentucky. Y'all ever, to all my sports fans out there, y'all ever see a sports take that makes you scratch your head, that makes you wonder if that person knows what the hell they're talking about? So yeah, that was me the other day. I was watching a highlight video on YouTube of Rob Gronkowski, and I leave a comment saying that Gronk is the greatest tight end of all time. Now, I'm not a Patriots fan. I don't like Bill Belichick. I wasn't a Brady fan until he left the Patriots, but now he's cool. But despite my dislike for the Patriots, Gronk is the greatest tight end of all time. Now, I guess the only thing you can hold against him is longevity, because he only played for 10 seasons, and I think he missed a couple of seasons due to injuries. But what Gronk did when he was healthy was just otherworldly. I mean, it was stuff that we ain't never seen, especially at the tight end position. And for that, I think Gronk's the greatest tight end of all time. And it's not just because, I mean, he wasn't just a great pass catcher either. Gronk was also a damn good blocking tight end too. And yeah, some guy, he leaves a comment, he says, "Oh, Gronk's a good tight end, but he ain't even top 5 all time." And I'm just like, is this guy serious? So I leave a comment, I'm like, dude, Gronk is not a top 5 tight end all time. Like, you're kidding, right? Now, if you were to tell me that Gronk isn't the greatest tight end of all time, yeah, I won't agree with you, but it just depends on who you say. Now, if you said Tony Gonzalez is greater than Gronk, I'd be like, okay, you can make an argument for Tony Gonzalez. That's cool. Hell, even you could even make an argument for Travis Kelce. Well, when his career is over with. If Travis Kelce continues at this trajectory, yeah, we might be talking about him being the greatest tight end of all time. But, I mean, other than those two, yeah, I wouldn't argue anybody over Gronk. And don't get me wrong, there have been some great tight ends in NFL history. I mean, Gronk, Tony G, Travis Kelce, Antonio Gates, Jason Witten, Jeremy Shockey, Gray Olson, Ozzie Newsome, Anthony Munoz, what's that dude's name? Kellen Winslow Sr. and John Mackey. But come on now. Excuse me. Anthony Munoz was an offensive lineman. Never mind. So yes, I had to double check on that. Yeah, forget I said Anthony Munoz. But my point still remains. There have been a lot of great tight ends in the league, but to say that Gronk is not top 5, that's stupid. This dude gonna try to say, oh, but there's at least 7 tight ends that got the same stats or better than Rob Gronkowski. So I was like, all right, cool. Do those 7 tight ends have as many records as Gronk? I mean, Rob Gronkowski still has the NFL record for most receiving touchdowns by a tight end in a single season. He still has the record for most receiving touchdowns by a rookie tight end. He has the most receptions and receiving yards in Super Bowl history by a tight end. What was that other record Gronk had? For a while, he had the record for most receiving yards in a season by a tight end. Gronk, yeah, he has more receiving yards than any tight end in postseason history as well. Like, come on, I would just want to know who are these 7 tight ends that this dude says is better than Gronk, because I would only put 2 ahead of him if I wasn't going to say Gronk was the GOAT, and that's Tony Gonzalez and possibly Travis Kelce. I mean, if Gronk ain't the greatest, he'd be either second or third all time, with the rest of the top 5 being like I said, Tony G, Gronk, Travis Kelce, Shannon Sharp, Antonio Gates. But whatever. I mean, people are entitled to their opinions, even if their opinions are wrong. But Gronk is the greatest tight end of all time. If not, he's a top 2 tight end of all time. Well, yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. But be on the lookout for my podcasts. I'm Deshaun. I hope y'all enjoy yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your night.